Welcome back to the Mountain Man Medical YouTube channel. Thanks for hanging out. Today we're going to take a look at the differences between the Israeli style pressure bandage and the OLAES modular pressure bandage. These are two of some of the best styles of pressure dressings out there on the market today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences and why you might choose one over the other. So hang out. We're going to talk about that next. All right, the first one that we're going to take a look at is this Israeli style pressure bandage. And you can tell that this is the Israeli style because you can kind of see this clip here. What I tend to see is people don't use this clip correctly. They'll wrap it all the way around, go through the clip, and then continue to wrap it around. So we'll take a look at how you can apply this correctly so that you use the clip to add that additional bit of pressure. So that's what this clip does. It just adds a little extra pressure to the wound to help control that bleeding. You want that pressure on the wound because it's going to help to keep that wound packing material down where it needs to be, tucked in close to the artery, putting pressure on it. And we don't want that gauze to come out or to remove that tenacious clot that we just worked so hard to put there. So a good way to do that is to keep it in place with a pressure dressing. So anytime that you're going to be wound packing, you want to make sure that you have some sort of a pressure dressing and elastic bandage of some kind to help keep it in place. So that's where the Israeli style pressure bandage is going to come into play. So this is how you can kind of take care of that. You also want to remember that a pressure dressing is going to be really beneficial for use on junctional wounds. So that's any place that two body parts come together, like your neck, your armpit, your groin. One of those places where you won't be able to use a tourniquet very effectively. Tourniquets are great. They don't fix everything. So this is where this will come into play. Why don't we head over here to Mr. Chris Clean and I'll show you how to apply this in the correct way. So come on back. All right, so we have the Israeli style pressure bandage here and we're going to imagine that he might have a wound on the right side of his neck here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the absorbent pad here and we're going to lay that across that side of his neck and we're going to position this clip just a little bit offset because we're going to pull it back down and through and it's going to help apply that extra pressure, right? So we're going to put that in, come down around the armpit, and he doesn't really have arms, so that's one of the problems of having this is if you have somebody without arms, it's kind of hard to get it in place. But we're going to go through the clip just like that. I just passed the elastic through the clip and then we're going to pull this back onto itself and continue to wrap nice and tight. Pull nice and firm pressure all the way around until you get to the end. And I'll turn them around here and you can see, whoa, keep your head up, smashing everything. All right, so you come back around and now it has this little clip and then we will just apply the clip and keep it in place. And it can be a little bit of a hassle, but just stick with it there. Get that clip on there and then this clip will hold this all in place pretty well. And now we've got our junctional bleed nice and controlled, supposedly. So that's how you're going to apply it correctly. You want to make sure that you go back through the clip. So come through the clip first, then back around and continue that wrap process. And that's what's going to get you that nice, clean, good control of that bleeding. There you go. So this is the OLAES modular pressure bandage and it's kind of new to the market. It's been out for a couple of years. They actually just released a new version of this, which is called the HemCon Elias bandage, and it is substantially better than the old one. So the old one comes with a bit of chest seal material and a significant amount of this gauze that runs into it. And that's important because you are combining two things that you're already going to need: wound packing material and a pressure dressing. Just like I already said, anytime that you're going to pack a wound, you're going to need a pressure dressing to keep that in place. This one combines both of them because you're going to need both anyway. Probably. And if you don't, no big deal. You still have a good pressure dressing or you still have wound packing material that you can collect. The very first model that came out with it just comes with some regular gauze, but it also comes with a little sheet of plastic that you can use as a kind of a makeshift chest seal if you needed to. Instead of the normal gauze, they've switched that out for the Kito gauze, which is a hemostatic agent, which will help the blood to clot more quickly and more effectively and get you that nice, robust, tenacious clot that we're looking for. So if you get a chance to pick some up, I would recommend going with the Kaido gauze version. It's a little more expensive, of course, but it is hands down the best on the market in my opinion. Now this Elias bandage works a lot like the Israeli style bandage in that it has an additional point of pressure for increasing the pressure over the wound site. But instead of a clip, it uses this little cup. And that little cup, I think, is a better way of getting additional pressure onto the wound site. It's more intuitive than the clip. The clip you got to go through and then back again, which is not a big deal as long as you're trained up on it, but most people don't tend to train on it. So if you throw this to somebody and they're going to position this on the wound site, then it's going to be kind of intuitive for them to position this over the actual hole that you're trying to patch, right? So I like that aspect of it. It doesn't take any extra knowledge or training or anything like that. Odds are good. If you put this on, it's going to be doing the same type of good. You just want to make sure you get it lined up nice and neat. Back behind that, here, you can see the wound packing material as it comes up. The other thing that I really like about this is that you can tell that this was developed by medics. And the way that you can tell that is when you open this up, it doesn't just completely unravel. What you've got are some of these hook and loop strips that help keep everything nice and neat and it's not running out on you, which is kind of nice because you might be working on somebody, you pull out your stuff, open up the packaging, and this just runs out into the dirt. And it's a gigantic pain in the butt. No fun at all. So to get around that, little ties or little strips here to help keep it in place. Additionally, these little strips of Velcro help to improve the circumferential pressure that you're going to get from the elasticity of the bandage itself. That's all I got about this particular bandage. Let's go ahead and see how we apply it. It's going to be pretty simple, and we'll do it again on Mr. Clean over here. All right, Mr. Clean, we're going to imagine, again, right side of his neck, and we need to patch that up. If we needed to, we can pull out our gauze that's already in our packaging and just feed it straight from the little pocket and get that all nice and packed up and making sure that we're controlling that bleeding. Once we get that all controlled, we're going to take the bandage. We're going to lay the absorbent pad across his shoulder and try to line up the cup so that it's positioned directly over the wound itself. And then we're just going to wrap. Nice and tight, pulling as we go. And once we get to the end, we can secure it with the clip that is almost completely identical to the Israeli bandage. It has a little bit of hook and loop here at the end to help you a little bit. But then once we get that on, then we just position the clip so that it stays in place. Pretty easy and simple, a little more intuitive than the Israeli pressure bandage. That's one of the reasons I really like it. Plus it comes with the stuff that you're going to need anyway. Wound packing material, is fantastic to have. You're going to need to use that, so you might as well have it all in one combined package. Help your efficiency a little bit so you're not having to open up additional packages. Helps you to maintain good space within your trauma kit so you can pack more items into it. So overall, fantastic product, highly recommended. Check it out. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for hanging out and checking out the differences between the Israeli style pressure dressing and the OLAES modular pressure bandages. These are both fantastic items. They're relatively inexpensive and you can pick these up in the Mountain Man Medical store. Don't forget to hit a like and subscribe. That's a free way to support my channel. Help me to keep these videos coming out to you. And don't forget to head over to mountainmanmedical.com. Check out our Yellowstone and Wind River trauma kits and be ready for whatever the mountain throws at you. I'll catch you guys in the next one.